what worked in 1950, it was working then, right? It should still work now. It could be a success-induced stuckness, but it could also be, oh my gosh, the last time I tried something, I fell flat on my face.
Mm.
And I do not want to put myself through that again. And so I am choosing to stay where I am because I'm afraid to fail again.
Hey, Anna, do you think people are listening?
Yeah, why wouldn't they be? We make business so fun.
Don't we? In that case, let's introduce ourselves.
Hey, it's Anna and Selena and the 15-ish minute coffee chat podcast. Talking business doesn't have to be boring, so dive into our coffee chat conversations and learn something new for your small business.
All right, go. Whatever. This is what we do. This is what we do.
Don't be too attached to what you know. You aren't willing to learn something new. When our guest today, Moniek James, said those words, we knew it was time to talk about getting unstuck from your small business ways. So if you have an attachment to doing things the same way you've always done them, or if you aren't leaving space for learning new things, you are stopping yourself and your business from growing. Welcome to the 15-ish minute coffee chat live stream and podcast with Anna and Selena. 12 seasons of helping entrepreneurs and small business owners build more profitable businesses. Hi, everyone.
Hi. You know it's going to be good when we have a returning guest, right? You know that it's going to be good. But today's guest, Moniek, has like a special place in both our hearts, and met her on our podcast, right? We never got to meet her in real person. And then last year we got to spend a retreat with her, and just it sealed the deal where me and Anna were like, let's never let Moniek go, period.
Yeah. We said 2 thumbs up, 10 stars.
Yeah.
You guys stay in our life.
Yeah. So the reason why this came about, this new episode with Moniek, is Moniek was teaching a course in a community that we're a part of, and she said those words, and it was just like, whoa, pause the video, let me write that down, rewind, make sure we got it right, because it was like, oh, it was so good. And we approached Moniek, we were like, how about coming back on? Let's talk about it. She was like, yes, let's talk about it. Anna, what is our call to action before we read this fabulous bio?
Okay, so what we want to know from all of our listening audience today is we want you to just stop, take a moment, reflect on yourself, and ask yourself, am I a constant learner? Okay, so what does that mean to you? You might think you are, but really stop and think about, when's the last time you actively sought out something new to know, to understand, to learn?
Yeah.
And so drop that in the comments for us, because we're super curious to find out what you think about yourself and where you stand as being a learner or a learning individual.
Yeah. And I feel like I know when you ask that question right now, Anna, most people will be like, oh, I know somebody that is like, nope, I'm fine using 1950s tactics and I'm going to stick like that. And then you're like, I love learning. I love evolving. Right. So, you know, both peoples.
Yeah. Can
both
I just
types of people? Yeah.
Okay. So I just want to take 30 seconds to pause and say, I can tend to be a person stuck in their ways. Not that I don't love learning. I just don't necessarily love learning technical things, which is what Selena excels at. So when we first met, we had this big joke about word art.
Flip art.
Remember? Word art program where you could design things. And I said something about word art, and Selena about fell off her chair. She was like,
I think my neck almost broke from
1980s. And anyway, it became a massive joke. I even made her a fabulous word art design.
She did.
I did.
She did.
I wonder if
we need to find it. Yeah, you got to. But it is a joke amongst us, but I'm really proud of Anna because she took what kind of Monique has said, right, and opened up herself to learning more things. And I love it. So here I'll be like, hey Anna, this thing, and she's, oh, Selena with this new stuff. And then like a year later, I love, she comes like riding in on the new Harley. She's, did you know that this does this? And I was like, it just was going to take some time for Anna to be okay and move to that next level.
Yeah.
Everybody at their own time, as long as you're moving forward.
And that's
Yes,
kind of what we want to talk about today. So let's read her bio. Selena, take it away.
All right. Okay, this is the fabulous Moniek James. She is the owner, marketing strategist, and fractional CMO of Renegade Creative Media. She is also a proud veteran military spouse, speaker, author, online entrepreneur, and founder of, again, Renegade Creative Media Group. Her passion is to teach business owners and brands how to leverage content marketing to deliver their genius to the world. She has been trusted and hired by organizations and associations like the Arizona Commerce Authority, Small Business Development Center, SCORE. Everybody should know what SCORE is, the Association of Military Spouse Entrepreneurs, which is where we got to connect with Monique, and the American Business Women's Association to train small business owners and entrepreneurs on establishing and expanding their digital footprints. Without further ado,
I'm bringing Monique to the
let's
stage.
bring Monique up. Monique, we can see you like nodding and saying yes. Let's talk about this.
Nodding in agreement, laughing. Yes, all the.
Were you laughing because of the word art? Tell me if you've used word art in your life.
Okay, so first when you said word art and then Anna was like clip art, immediately I started laughing. Immediately I started laughing. I'm like, yep, been there. I've been the word art person. Like I was actually thinking recently how, are we the new old people? Are we the new get off my lawn? Are we the new, you don't understand? I think about, okay, I might be dating myself. So Will Smith, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, Parents Just Don't Understand came out. That's my era. And I was thinking the other day, like, oh, I'm the parent who doesn't understand. When did this happen?
It just sneaks up on you, doesn't it? It just does. I do have to say, Selena stays really hip and fresh with all the new trends because she is a TikTok queen, right? And then she sends them to me, and that helps me stay new and fresh. But without Selena, I would be fuddy-duddying it all the way.
Anna, but listen, I really do envision myself like with my grandma's walker, and like my phone is like on a lanyard so I don't lose it. And that's how I feel like I look when I send you these TikToks. Do you know what I mean? I'm like putting on my like old lady cream so that my joints don't hurt. And that's where I am. But joking aside, Monique, let's do a quick little coffee cup selfie so we can get this started. Because we got some good questions, and you always have gold nuggets every time. So I'm gonna put my face somewhere here on 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Awesome.
Let's do this. Let's put you in that like spotlight seat, and let's get to the questions. Go ahead, Anna. Let's roll.
Okay, so Monique, the very first question that we have for you is, what does it mean to be stuck in your small business ways?
Oh my gosh. I definitely think stuck looks different in different people and in different businesses, but it essentially is confusion. I believe it's I don't know what to do next. And so the safe choice feels like doing nothing. And I'm also frustrated because I'm doing nothing. So that equals stuck.
Okay, so this is so good because I love that what you said is it's that fear of doing something, but also of doing nothing.
Yeah.
And I think that we all find ourselves in that place. I know I do. You just basically describe me and my personality to a T, right? I have to research, I have to think things through. And that leaves me quite frequently in that stuck place.
Yeah. And I'll say, I love to evolve. So I'm not saying that I'm not stuck ever, Monique, but I do, like I mentioned in the intro, I am one of those people that watches clients, which is why they probably hire you, Monique, and they hire us but I watch them be stuck in that way. And you feel so bad that you just got to wait for them to like come to the realization that, hey, I guess their first step is when they hire people like us to help them get unstuck so they can move forward. I can think of multiple clients, and I'm sure you do too, of just evolving into that next stage.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard because I think sometimes we get to that place because we're leaning on something that is expired or something that used to be like it could be a success. To go back to what you mentioned at the top of the episode, Selena, what worked in 1950, it was working then, right? It should still work now. It could be a success induced stuckness, but it could also be, oh my gosh, the last time I tried something, I fell flat on my face. And I do not want to put myself through that again. And so I am choosing to stay where I am because I'm afraid to fail again. And I think because it can happen in both of those lanes, and we're talking about business, especially, those are the two ends of the spectrum for us. And when we get really attached to either one of those, that could block us. It could become an obstacle to trying something new, to maybe going back into research mode, to stepping into being a beginner at something so that we can create momentum. I feel like momentum happens in levels, and sometimes we have to push the lever from the inside. It's great when the opportunity comes and it's unexpected. Oh my God, how did you find me? And it's wonderful. But sometimes we have to be the one to click it on from the inside. And that means trying something new, going to a new meeting, reaching out, sending a cold email, making a phone call. Sometimes that's the thing that clicks, and then everything else falls into place after that. But when we're afraid to fail or we're so tied to the last win, that can keep us in that place of neutral, going nowhere.
So if you had like a small business owner that was trying to evaluate themselves, like truly where they were at right now in terms of their openness and willingness to do something new, what would be like some good questions they could ask themselves to come to that understanding of, am I being a little adventurous, or am I stuck? Right? Because often we think, oh, last year I did this and this, I'm not stuck, right? But the reality is that it's just a slightly revised regurgitation of what we've always done, as opposed to truly trying something new and like attempting that growth.
Yeah. I would definitely challenge them to do a little bit of self inventory. What do your days look like? What have your days looked like for the past 2 weeks? That kind of gets them to start seeing patterns. I got up and then I complained about having to go work out, so I didn't. And then I had some emails when I was like, oh, I don't feel like it. Like they start to see their own patterns. Ask about what's happening in their business. Are they seeing growth anywhere? Are they seeing new engagement, new subscribers, followers, new email signups or newsletter signups, new open rates going up, new sales? And then how do they feel about it? It's what are you doing? What's happening in your business? How do you feel about it? And if those answers are, I've been doing the same thing for the last 2 weeks, every day has looked the same. And well, nothing in my business has really changed. And I'm pissed. That's From that place, now we can start to figure out how to interrupt the patterns. Even how we're talking about this, we're using the word stuck as if no motion is happening. But sometimes there's a lot of motion, there's a lot of activity in the stuck place. Sometimes it's a lot of rinsing and repeating of habits and patterns that just don't really, like the hamster wheel. A lot of activity, but no forward motion.
Mhm.
But when you start to think about doing that self inventory, it gives them the opportunity to recognize perhaps I've been busy. I've been ending my days really tired, but I haven't done anything different or new to try to create space for new outcomes.
Mm.
Oh my gosh, I want to share this quick little story because you put me back to this story that was shared. I went to a conference with Lewis Howes, his Summit of Greatness in Columbus last year, and he shared this story of a book, and I can't remember the author, but he wrote about a fly, and he said the fly's whole goal was to get outside, and he was sitting in a restaurant, and the fly was just continuously going at the glass because he can see the outside, but and he said, what was so sad is he knew that the fly was going to continuously go to the glass to try to get out. If the fly had just went and looked absolutely like 190 degrees, he would have seen an open door. And meaning like his objective and his goal, right? But just there is another way. And you make me recall that story because it's like on the hamster wheel, right? So maybe he's running because he sees his food bowl ahead, but we all know he's not going to get the food because he's just going to continuously turn it. And like you said, you're doing the same mode of business, the
Mhm.
same. But what if you're trying to grow and you can't get to that food bowl because and anyway, you made me think of that fly story. And I was just like, whoa, because I thought about it. That's their whole life, that this is what they know, right? My goal is to get to outside. And I'm going to
Yeah.
go through this glass and I'm going to try to get through the glass. And that's my objective, not realizing if I look 90 degrees, there's an open door to getting
Yes.
to my goal.
I think the other really key point to what you just said is there's still a lot of activity happening if you're stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Right.
when you were describing that, I'm like, man, I'm feeling a little called out right now. Just in the sense that if I start to evaluate my days, if I ask myself those three questions, right? Yes, my days repeat themselves right now. But I am busy,
Mhm.
right? So it's not like I'm not doing anything. So I love that what you're saying is stuck doesn't mean you're not doing anything. Stuck means you're doing the same things over and over again. What is it they say? Like something about doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different
Oh,
result, right?
that's insanity.
Yeah.
Definition of
Oh,
insanity.
Right.
insanity. There you go,
Yeah.
right? So
Oh, Monique, I know that one. Yes, I do. Let me
I
share
know
that with
that
you.
one well. And as entrepreneurs, we won't get to the levels that we want to get to in our business without really knowing ourselves. We have to know ourselves and tell ourselves the truth. I know what my stuck activity is. I know. And when I can recount 3 out of 5 days where I've been doing that one thing, I'm like, no, girl, we've got to do something. We've got to do something else. We can't. But that's the part that I wish was talked about more. And the business books focus on the business. It doesn't talk or address what's happening internally in the business owners.
mm,
And for me, that's the part, that's where the rubber meets the road. We can get the tactics or we can get the funding, we can get the access, we can get the resources. But if we're wrestling with stuff internally, limiting beliefs and low self esteem or whatever, all kinds of things we could be dealing with inside, those things will create the outcome. That's the stuff that creates the outcome. So making it a habit of doing a self inventory, especially as the business grows, as you want the business to grow, because in my experience, at least, you'll have to become a different version of yourself because the Monique who was starting is not the same Monique who is working with teaming partners and getting into rooms and having conversations with executives. Like it's a different person. That's a different chick. And so we have to recognize that as our work, as we want our work to evolve, we as the human being that's doing the doing has to evolve too, or we'll just end up with the same results.
okay, so
Yeah.
you lead directly into the next question, right? Like we've addressed it just slightly, But so now that we know what stuck looks like or feels like or appears in the
Right.
outer world, what are we doing to get unstuck? What's the
Yeah.
process? What do we do? Monique, tell us.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the first thing is admit it. And that's hard. Definitely for in my experience, in my opinion, being a business owner requires a certain level of delusion, like self-delusion, but we have to balance that with some self-awareness. We can't be all the way in the land of delusion and have no grounding or objectivity or awareness about ourselves. So I think the first thing would be to admit that's where we are and then get support from somebody we trust, somebody who's not invested in the success or the failure, somebody who's going to tell us the truth, who's going to help us hold ourselves accountable, encourage us, because going through that phase of getting unstuck definitely is going to require some self-compassion, because the tendency is to want to beat ourselves up and be like, how could you get here? How did this happen? So it's definitely going to require a greater level of self-compassion and accountability, and then a plan. And that plan might start with just, okay, 2 days a week, I'm going to do this new thing. Like I'm going to add something, as opposed to even taking something away. I might still be engaging in those stuck activities, but I'm going to add something new so that I can start to phase myself out of that habit and into a new habit. But and all of that starts with like just having that mindset of where I am now is not the end, and I can trust myself to figure it out. And then from that point, tell the truth, get some support, make a plan.
So,
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
yeah,
Anna, I just want to say like exactly what you said is why one of my biggest clients, he hired me. He was trying to do something himself. He was feeling very stuck. And then we got in contact and we talked it through. And here's the thing, what you just said was super big is know where you're stuck. And if you need it, get support. So
yeah.
don't feel like if you don't know how to do it, then it's all a lost cause. Maybe it's just knowing you can get an ace in their places by finding the support. And he just said, hey, I need support. And so we came in and we have had fabulous success with moving his needle in an already successful business. So I love that you said that. I just wanted to make sure I said it because what she said, I'm living proof. I've seen it with my clients, and I'm not saying that because how much I love Monique, but legit, that and support equals success. It can be
Yeah.
an equation, right?
Yeah.
I want to throw this I'm out there like on a personal note too. Like when you were talking, I just realized like this past week I've had this experience that you're describing right now. So if you're familiar with Clifton Strengths and
Mhm.
your 34 strengths and whatnot, I just had a coaching session, and the outcome conversation of that was I am very high in executing tasks. I am a doer, right? That is what I do. I get things done. And what that does to me is sometimes I put tasks over people. That was what came out of my coaching session. And it is a place where I get stuck. This is one of my sticking points for
Wow.
myself as a business owner, right? So there was a lot of like self awareness that happened in that moment where when I worked that out with this coach, it was like this light bulb moment of I'm putting tasks over people. And if I switch that, then it could really make a difference in how my business is running, how efficiently it's running, how
Mhm.
exhausted I feel at the end of the day. And all of these things that if I look at and assess myself, it's the same complaints every day over and over again. Why? Now we just identified one moment. So I love that what you're saying, Selena said, right? That support system. It might be an expert in some area. It might be a personal coach. It might be a pastor for all you know. Who knows, right? It could really honestly be anyone in your life that you trust to go to with this. Let's talk this out.
Yeah. Because feeling stuck is that's isolating, which I think is
Yeah.
which is the point. I think that's what that feeling is designed to do. It's
Mm-hmm.
designed to make us feel like we're the only one, nobody's going to understand, and it's all on us to figure out. So for me, like I tell with like my confidence coaching clients, I talk a lot about when the feeling or the emotion shows up, whatever the thing is that you normally do, flip it and do the opposite. So when we feel like we've messed up, when we feel shame or guilt or whatever because we haven't been doing the things that we're supposed to be doing in our businesses and we're stuck, and when that while that would make us want to go inside and close ourselves off from other people, that's the time to seek out those trusted, safe perspectives about how to navigate it and how to turn it around. Because it's a reminder that we deserve help, that we're worthy. There are people in our lives who will support us. It takes all of the dark pieces, all of those dark elements out of feeling stuck in the shame. It lightens it, it adds light to those spaces. And I feel like in that time, that's what we need most.
Monique, you
I
add light to my space.
Yeah. No, for sure. This has been seeming like a theme for me in my head, and Anna's gonna be like, she's bringing it up again. But we talk about the different generations in the workforce. You know where I'm going with this, right, Anna? And how they manage and how they move forward and work through things. And we all joke that we all feel old. Like our hit songs are now elevator music, like in the doctor's office waiting room now. But sometimes it's where we've been, and I've seen a shift, right, in the mental health aspect of being at work and just even the boundary setting. And I can just I would love to have a conversation with a Gen Z person right now, right, saying, so do you ever feel stuck and how do you manage that? And sometimes their take on it is so refreshing, but I'm
Yeah.
like, that would never work. That would never worked in my era. Do you know what I mean? I like, and you said it earlier, and that's why it dinged a thing in me where we talk about being honest with ourselves and admitting that we're stuck, because sometimes I know for my early on's generation, it was like, you better know how to do your thing. And if you say that you are stuck, you're weak.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying? And yeah, I love that you brought that up, because it just, I don't know. Anyway, but because now it is a true story. What did you say yesterday, Anna? We talked. There's 5 generations now in the workforce.
7 living generations, and 5 of them are currently in the workforce. And that is a lot of time span and a lot of different ways of doing things that leaders and managers really have to negotiate different ways, different perspectives. And what looks stuck for a Gen Zer does not look stuck for a baby boomer, and vice versa. Right. So when you start to think about generational differences and how that plays out in the workforce, and if you are managing people, understanding where they may feel stuck and you don't see it because you don't understand that mindset as well. There's so many different layers to this. I know we've just barely touched on it with Monique. But the good news is Monique is at your beck and call, right?
Yeah, no, yes. Look, I feel like if we've touched on this subject, I feel like the 3 of us need to create some kind of fun checklist. Hey guys, you're gonna jump on our email list, and me and Monique and Anna are gonna share something, because I don't know.
Messages.
Yes, Monique. Seriously, that was a lot of good stuff there, and I don't want to end the conversation, but I realize we have to shuffle on to the toolkit that we also think everybody should look into and invest in. So I'm going to bring that slide up so you can talk about it, Monique. What is this fabulous thing that people should be interested in and go check out?
So, tying this back to the conversation that we've been having in this episode, talking about feeling stuck in our businesses and challenging ourselves to interrupt our own patterns. So, the Content Clarity Challenge is a challenge that years ago, it seems like 1,000 years ago, I used to teach this challenge a couple times a year live. And with my family's recent move about a year and a half ago, and taking the opportunity of that transition to figure out what my brand is going to look like going forward, I interrupted my own pattern and said, you know what? This information needs to be available to the brand owners, the nonprofit leaders, the people who need it whenever they need it. They shouldn't have to wait for me to carve out the time in my calendar to teach this live challenge for 5 days. And so that's how this version of the challenge came to be. It's still a challenge. It's taught over the course of 5 days, but it's now available as a micro course for anybody to enroll. And so part of my work as a content strategist, a marketing strategist, focuses on building a solid foundation that will support all of your marketing activities. My focus is online, digital, blogging, email, social media, but essentially, regardless of whatever form of marketing you're using, online, offline, in person, whatever, you still need to have a strategy. And so I teach from the strategist perspective. So this particular micro course focuses on how to design your content like a strategist. So I talk about getting into the customer discovery is my favorite part of marketing strategy development. So I teach some elements of that. I teach some elements of planning the intended customer journey, being aware, having understanding that they're going through a process, and designing your content in a way that meets them where they are, answers the questions that they're asking on that phase, their stage of the journey. And it just breaks it down how to deliver those messages across multiple channels without getting overwhelmed. So this is a bite-sized version of what it's like to work with me on your strategy from beginning to end, but it's available for lifetime access, unlimited access. And it's
See, I think you said a couple words that I feel like is very what people are looking for right now in their busy schedules, right? You said bite-sized, digestible, micro, because that's just what we can handle right now. So
yeah.
why would this is a perfect place to start. And I have to remember sometimes that not everybody knows this. And this is why you educating people and sharing how to be better at this particular thing, it's well worth the in the investment. It really truly is, because sometimes you got to do those things where they're like, hey, come join us and get certified. And it's a 6-month program, self-paced, but it's really going to take you 10 years because you forget to come and show up and self-pace yourself. Thank you for creating this. Thank you for sharing this. I'm super excited but we will include a link to Monique's in the podcast description, our YouTube description. So find it, click around, and go join. Let us know if you do it, and share with Monique on socials, like how it helped rock your world. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
having said that, Monique, if they do want to go DM you and be like, girl, this is the best dang thing. I don't know why I kept spinning on my hamster wheel, but where can they like connect with you?
So I'm on social under my first and last name, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all the
All
ones.
places.
They can find me there. There's content out there. They can
Yeah.
see my approach to strategy and all of the touchy-feely pieces that your average marketer doesn't talk about. But that's my confidence coaching kind of shining through in the
I love
marketing piece, which is the perfect blend. But yeah, I'm all over social, online at moniquejames.com.
No excuses, people. She just said you can find her everywhere. And
Yeah.
some days I'm going to tell you, because like sometimes Monique's content comes in like a lot, and then I'm liking it and loving it like in a row. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I bet you Monique thinks I'm stalking her right now. Cause I'm like, oh my gosh, this is wonderful. And I'm like, why are you only showing me Monique's all of her content right now? It looks like I'm literally in her gallery. I'm not stalking you. I would stalk you, but
It's
Monique,
fine.
just so you know, that's why you get 20 likes in 2 minutes sometimes from me. Oh my gosh. You guys, this was a fantastic show. Monique, again, you know how grateful Anna and I are to just be in your space, because you are brilliant, like truly brilliant. And I constantly I think a lot of things in the year. I thank God, that we were able to connect in Charleston and literally just walk away from the experience with a really tighter bond. I'm going to let Anna close the show, because I could just go on and love on you. So I'm going to mute myself, guys, so we actually end the show. You're going to hear music come on, because that's a key.
That's 3 times I tried to talk and she kept going. Do you see this? So I am going to take over right now. Say thank you so much for watching our show. Please come find us at arenʻt.com. Make sure you connect with Monique on all the different places, and we will see you next time on the 15-ish minute coffee chat.
Oh my gosh. Did they actually make it to the outro music?
I told you this would work, Selena.
Okay.
Well, thanks for tuning in to today's show. Now head on over to arenʻt.com to listen to more of the 15-ish minute coffee chat. We've got over 100 episodes, all geared to making your businesses more fun and profitable.